Well, welcome, dear audience and friends, and thanks for opening up to another very special connection with an old friend and a fellow mountain climber and a perennial aspirant for the fulfillment and enrichment of life. That's how I see you, Michael.
Thanks, David.
I initially met Michael through an associate at the Unity Church who thought Michael Pease is his name, and she thought that Michael and I would connect. We did. And Michael learned of my adventures in mountain climbing and my love for such, and it intrigued him. So he asked me to come visit his church group at the time and do a presentation, which I did. And then Michael was engaged. And then Michael thought, well, I'd like to do this. I'd like to do some mountain climbing like David's doing and experience some summits. Well, all that enthusiasm was slightly detoured by the fact that his beloved partner emphatically said no, which caused Michael to reassess. And as he reassessed, he recognized that, yes, this is what he wants to do. What's it going to take for his beloved to say okay? Well, matter of fact, as she always is, she stated, Michael, you need more life insurance.
Absolutely.
And you know what? Michael bought more life insurance, and we stepped forth and climbed all 15 of the 14,000-foot summits in California together over a period of what?
20 years?
Yeah. It's been an amazing journey. A lot of lessons to be learned. We'll talk about that sometime in the future. And I just want to say, Michael, personally, I want to thank you for the mutual care and support that we needed in order to go through the adventures and the gauntlet and the challenges that we did climbing those mountains. So it's been a real treasure knowing you and growing with you.
Absolutely, David.
Yes. So we have a few questions for my dear brother today. As climbing became a passion for you, Michael, you also always nurtured another passion that goes way back in your childhood. And would you share with us what that is, and why is that noteworthy for your engagement? What is that passion?
So you're referring to fly fishing.
I am.
Actually, it began as fishing and then evolved into fly fishing, and that is the greatest passion that I have. It's more than a hobby; it's a business. It's a love, and really, I have to say I fell in love with fishing at around age 3 when I caught my first fish. And it's the love for fishing has grown ever since. If you ever got a retreat or something, it says, well, tell us about one of your earliest memories. Every early memory I have is about me catching a fish. And I think I fell in love with it because it's when I feel my dad was most proud of me, is when I caught a fish. He was so proud, and that made me feel so proud. And I always felt at peace in the mountains, in nature, fishing, and in the moment. It takes me away from all of the things that normally would cause us stress.
Yes.
I'm in the flow. I'm in the moment.
Yes.
And fly fishing has taken me on an incredible journey. I've been doing it for about 30 years.
Yes.
And there's always something new to learn and a way to grow, and it's endless on how much you can learn and grow in fly fishing. And now I get to help inspire and teach others to go fly fishing with the guiding business that I do and the fly fishing school that I have.
Yes. Yeah, it's been I've watched you along your journey, and I see how it has become more of an integral part of your life. And as we finished the 15th summit, you knew it was time to let go of that passion and really wholly engaged in this passion that you, as you say, you have indulged since age 3?
Age 3, and even sooner than that. Before my first real memories, I was camping and on rivers with my dad and my mom. I want to add one more thing, and I'm a new fly fishing professor at California State University, Sacramento, and I'm blessed to continue to work with students in a club that I started called the Adventure and Ecology Club in high school.
Wow.
Many of my students go on to CSU Sacramento, and 4 of them that I had as math students are in my intro to fly fishing class, Kinesiology 15 at Sac State, and that has been absolutely incredible to continue working with them as human beings, as well as teaching them my passion for fly fishing.
Oh yeah. So you're inherently leaving a legacy of your enthusiasm, your appreciation, your fervor for the beauty of that particular approach to nature, and then just being engaged in nature in that format.
Yeah, and hopefully as they get introduced to fly fishing and start to enjoy it, that part of the class is to learn how to protect our environment. And so the more people that we have that enjoy the outdoors and enjoy adventure, that means there's going to be more people involved in taking care of it. So part of the class is actually conservation work and introducing them to taking care of it, and taking care of the rivers and the lakes and the mountains.
So you're doing your part for this planet, not only to enjoy what is so deeply enriching to you, however, to also share it with others, and then use that avocation as a medium for sharing the message of care for our beloved planet.
Yeah.
And by doing so on an individualistic basis, you touch a number of people in your classes, the people who tap into your website, the people that you're able to take out on a fly fishing journey. And then we trust that each and every one of those people speak to someone else about what they learned, what they gleaned, what they received from that in most powerful journey.
Can I give an example of that?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just yesterday came back from Missoula, Montana, where I was the keynote speaker along with one of my former students from high school, who is now in my Kinesiology 15 class. Her name's Nayeli. And part of the keynote, when it was her turn to give her presentation up there in front of 340 people, she's 21 years old, not something I could have done at 21.
Yeah.
She got to plan her whole portion of the keynote, and she had pictures. Her first pictures were from our adventure club in high school, but her next set of pictures she talked about how she then left high school and started to introduce her friends to hiking.
Yes.
She took her friend Angelique, who's from Sacramento, who's also 21 years old, to Santa Cruz. Angelique had never visited the ocean. And she said to 340 people in this room in Missoula, Montana, all of the Orvis CEO, all of the leaders of Orvis, and all the people there for the conference, she said, I now get an idea of how Pease felt.
Yeah.
So she calls me Pease.
Yeah.
How Pease felt when he took me out, and that was my very first hike. And so I get it. I know what that's like now, because now Angelique says to me, Nayeli, I've never been to the ocean before.
Oh yeah.
So it's an exponential growth pattern. The more people we can get excited about fly fishing or adventure or the mountains and the outdoors, again, exponential growth. They're gonna pass it down to other people.
Right. Sometimes hopefully we all ask, how are we making a difference in life? How are we being a contribution? We are being a contribution by who we choose to be. And you are choosing to be a teacher with joy, with enthusiasm, and with appreciation for people and for the Mother Nature that has reared you to this point in your life. So thanks, buddy. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, and you've already answered this question, what's your mission for clients to appreciate through your service business? Because certainly it's a business of service. And so that they have a uniquely memorable experience. Well, he already attuned to that question. And he just shared it with his 21-year-old student.
Yeah, I can be a little more specific with regards to fly fishing. So I would say there's kind of three main goals. There's lots of goals, but the three main goals would be, first, I just ask people, what's your goal today? What is it you'd like to get out of today? And so it might just be, I just want to be in the moment. I want to stand in a river, Actually, it's kind of surprising how many
Really?
people...
That's an answer that people will give you?
Some people will just say, to me, it's not even about catching a fish today. It's just about being out here and learning something new. And so as I know their goals, then it gives me a way to focus on meeting those goals for them. And then I hope one of my goals is I hope that I'm sharing that passion for fly fishing and adventure and nature, that somehow and conservation rubs off on them.
Yes.
And then I'd say the other goal is I just want to, this is our first time building a relationship. I want them to be a client of mine for life. Even if they don't sign up to do another guide date, they are comfortable texting me, calling me, and I have plenty of people will send me pictures like, look, Mike, I was out on my own and I caught this fish, and I'm like, dude, right on, awesome, so proud of you, And so I hope to just build more clients for life.
Yes, and you inherently have fun.
Oh man,
and you have clients that rediscover fun, because we're so much a society and a culture about doing, about producing, about accomplishing. And this sport is about being engaged in an interaction that elevates you. Yeah.
So the title of the keynote address in Missoula for Orvis was, "It's not about the fish."
Good.
It's not about the fish. And so what is it about then? What is if it's not about the fish? And I can tell you a little story. I had a dad and a son sign up for my fly fishing school, Feather River Fly Fishing School. And they were, I was sitting with the dad at the end of the day. I don't remember if it was the first day, second day, third day, it doesn't really matter. But the son had gone off and to go do something else, and the dad and I were having a beer or drink or something, and the dad looks at me and he says, Mike, it's what you are doing is so much more about than teaching people how to fly fish. You're creating memories of a lifetime. And he started crying.
Yes. How beautiful.
Yeah, memories of a lifetime. And it struck me that this is so much more than just learning to fly fish.
Yeah.
This is about connecting. It's love is what it is. It's connecting.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. This just showed up for me. How do you feel you're catching fish, you have to clean them, and you get to eat them? How are the fish served? How's Mother Nature served in this interaction?
Well, you've made an assumption that we are keeping the fish.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Almost all of my fly fishing is catch and release.
Yes.
So we debarb the hooks, so it makes it easy to release the fish. We try to keep them in the long water as long as possible. We're very gentle in how we handle the fish, and so we release almost all of the fish. There are times, like on a backpacking trip, I'll keep some fish to eat, or if I want to smoke a few and share some of that smoked trout with some of my clients. But your question was, how are the fish served?
Yes, when they are served to us.
So that's a great question. I haven't really thought of it as from the perspective of the fish, other than the fact that I would say fly fishers are, I can't think of anyone that's a fly fisher that doesn't really believe that we have to take care of our environment. So I am the first carbon neutral fly fishing guide in California. And so I work with a company called Emerger Strategies and the Fly Fishing Climate Alliance to make my business carbon neutral. So I buy carbon offsets to mitigate the carbon I put out in the atmosphere. So we are stewards of the environment. We realize that we can't do any of this cool stuff that we do if the climate just gets too hot or the rivers get too low. Once the river is above 70 degrees, you don't want to be fly fishing for trout. It's very stressful for them.
Yeah.
So we're very aware of that. So we move to other waters, or we stop fly fishing altogether when things are bad for the fish. So I guess we're very grateful that the fish want to play the game of fly fishing with us.
Yeah. Well, and I thought of an answer.
Yeah.
You're engaging inherently in the sustainability of life. It's like because we have the privilege to eat a fish that we've conscientiously acquired, and we have the privilege to continue to live, to spread the word of sustainability. And that fish has been a blessing for us by sacrificing its life so that we may continue to thrive and let other people know about the beauty, the worthiness, the fragility of life.
Well, the Native Americans, I took a Native American studies class when I was an undergrad at San Diego State, and the Native Americans were great stewards of the environment.
Yes.
They realized that they weren't any better than the soul of the tree or the soul of the trout or the soul of the bear. We were all in this together, in this world together. We interact with one another. And they believed that when they killed a deer or an elk or a bear or a fish, that animal gave up its life to sustain them. And they would thank the spirit of that animal for giving up its life to sustain their tribe.
Yeah.
And one of my clients is a shaman, and so when we go on a guide date, he gives a blessing to the 4 directions, and he opens up the space for us and thanks every animal and the river for what it's about to give to us.
Have you thought about doing that yourself, to open each experience with your clients?
I have. I just haven't done it yet, but I like that.
Yes. And it's amazing when we give people the opportunity to glimpse the truth, just the effervescent beauty of life. It's amazing how many people respond.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. I think I'll connect with my friend and have him write out the prayer that he says to the 4 directions, and just ask my clients if they're okay with that.
Yes, beautiful.
Or if they're not, I'll just do it secretly.
Yeah, all right. So, could you add any more to this, to what you've learned from fly fishing in regards to sharing 2 to 3 metaphors for life your devotion has delivered for you?
Yeah, I don't know about metaphors, but
or how it's enriched your life if you haven't been involved.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna grab my coffee here.
Sounds good. I think I mentioned this earlier, but fly fishing for me just brings me into the moment, into the flow of life.
Thank you.
A whole day can go by like that.
Yes.
I'll have possibly forgotten to eat.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. I also heard, I would say that I feel at one with all of nature. I see bald eagles, osprey, beavers, all rattlesnakes. I see all kinds of nature. And I feel just to be blessed to be there and to be at one with them. And the other thing someone said recently and I liked what she said. She said, going to your favorite river or rivers is like revisiting an old friend. That's what it feels like. It's like you're going to visit an old best friend. And every time your best friend is a little bit different, a little bit changed. And it just feels so amazing to be there with your best friend.
Oh yeah.
That's what it feels like. So there's your metaphor.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you also have developed another passion, and it's about being a math teacher.
Yeah.
For a subject which is not on most students' highlight list.
Yeah.
How do you deliver this complex subject in a distinctive manner so that you engage your students? How do you get them involved?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say more than the just making math come alive and interesting and relevant, which I do the best I can at. There's state tests and things that you have to be aware of that you can kind of get off track on that part. If you go too far in the experiential learning, which is what I love, is to make math alive and show the power and the beauty of mathematics. What's more important, what goes beyond that, is first of all, like you said, math is typically not on most people's highlight list. And many people you ask, tell me about your math experience in school. I hated math, right? I mean, that's what they say. It's more than half. I'd say 75, 80% say, I hated math. I was horrible at math. I hate math. I don't do math. People say, oh, who's going to do the tip? Oh, I don't do math. And I find I have to overcome that. That's a very difficult thing to overcome. It's okay in our American culture to not like math and not even be good at it.
Yeah.
To say, I hear sportscasters for the Kings say, oh man, I wasn't any good at math.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to you about these statistics, right? And that's okay. So I'm fighting an uphill battle. So what I do is I start every week with an inspirational quote. Many of them they've come to me and I just write them out. And usually they come in the way of something like, if you try, you can learn. Anyone can do it if you try. And so I really work towards getting people to believe that they can do math if they try. And that may take 4 years because their mom or their dad or their aunt or their uncle say, I hated math, it's horrible. Or you can't do math. I can't do math, you probably can't do it either. So they believe, many people believe they can't do it, but they can.
Or they haven't been supported to wholly believe in themselves. Because the students that, first of all, believe in themselves are going to be most easily convinced to believe in something that they could do.
Yeah, so exactly. And there's a lady, a researcher at Stanford, her name's Carol Dweck, and she wrote a book called Mindsets. And for anyone that's interested in learning about this it changed how I talk to my own children. And there's this idea of either having a fixed mindset view of intelligence or a growth mindset view of intelligence. If you have a fixed mindset view of intelligence, that means you believe that you were born either smart or not, a musician or not.
It's that simple.
It's that simple. Good at math or not. That I'm either smart or I'm not. Then there's a growth mindset view of intelligence, which means if I try, I can get smarter, which biologically is true because when we put effort towards anything, we grow dendrites in our brain. And so if you want to get smarter, you grow more dendrites through effort. So I teach my students about what is a growth mindset view of intelligence, what is a fixed mindset view of intelligence. I always thought playing the guitar was only for those that are naturally good at it. How does someone just hear a song and they start riffing on that? Well, I thought it was just you were born that way or not. No, I had a fixed mindset at one time. Then I started taking guitar lessons, and I learned that I need to learn the scales. And once I know the key of the song, well then I can play the scale and hit any note in there and it sounds right. And it sounds cool. All of a sudden I'm playing by ear, which I had I wasn't born with any gift. I learned because I believed I could learn it. It's the same with math. It's the same with anything. You can become smarter at anything.
And then, I just flashed on this, when you become smarter, you have the opportunity to become inspired. What is an inspired mindset? What is a vision for you to excel in this subject, in this matter, in this exercise in life where you just feel wholly complete and just so thankful that you've been able to step up to this plate.
And that just comes from effort. It comes from effort and a belief.
Yeah.
And like I said, it may take a week. It might take a day for get someone to believe, oh, Mr. Pease, I get what he's saying. If I try, I'm going to learn. Some students never get it.
Yeah.
It may take a year.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Some people it takes a lifetime.
I keep saying it, and I keep giving new quotes every week.
Yeah.
They write it in the first person because I believe once you write it down, so I'll have a quote, and they write it down, and they have to interpret it. You'll say, I can learn if I try.
Yeah.
And then they have to translate that into their own words.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, they're learning math.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Or fly fishing.
So we can apply that to any aspect of our life.
Any aspect.
Yeah.
Any aspect.
Thank you.
Whenever you're saying, oh, I can't do that, well, that's one of the quotes.
Yeah.
It says, I can is the quote.
Yeah.
No, I can't's allowed. Not allowed. You can do anything if you put your mind and your heart and your spirit into it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And what are the tangible fruits of this profession that you are experiencing or have experienced?
Well, that's interesting. Tangible fruits. I have to go way back here. I was an electrical engineering major at San Diego State and graduated in 1986. And I chose electrical engineering for all the wrong reasons. I didn't know what to do. I was the first in my family to go to college, so I really didn't have much guidance. I really wanted to be a forest ranger in 9th grade, but I knew I'd have to get a master's degree, and I knew they didn't get paid very much. I became a teacher with a master's degree and didn't get paid very much, right? So it's kind of the joke's on me. When I was an engineer, I really felt lost because it wasn't in my heart, and
because it wasn't in your heart. What a wonderful, wonderful statement. Thank you.
Yeah, so I became depressed.
Yeah.
Very depressed, very anxious. And so when you're depressed, you don't feel much. And I knew I wanted to feel love again, and I wasn't feeling any at all. Completely flat. It's horrible. And so that's when I became a spiritual person. And I learned that if you want something, quit asking and taking, start giving. So if you give, whatever you give away will come back.
Tenfold.
It feels like more than that, David.
Yes.
At this point, this was in 1988?
Yeah.
30, if I'm doing the math, 32 years later. 34 years later, there's better math. To be standing on a stage with one of your high school students who's now your fly fishing student.
Yes.
And she sings your praises.
Yes.
About the difference you made, and now she's off making a difference. I mean, does it get any better?
Yeah.
Does it get any better? I don't think so.
Yeah. Never doubt, or if you do doubt, then question your doubt that you make a difference.
Yeah.
And then, if so, do we choose to make a difference on a positive level or a negative level?
Yeah. Well,
every day is a choice.
If you want negativity, give out negativity. It will come back.
Yeah.
If you want love, give love.
Yep.
That's what I want.
Yep.
It's kind of simple.
Yet, we've all been challenged with the simplicity of living it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Daily.
All the time.
All right. Have you been graced with a mentor in your life? And how has this individual been an integral part of your growth?
Yeah. So going all the way back to engineering, after I saw the movie Stand and Deliver, and I saw what Jaime Escalante, who became one of my heroes. I never got a chance to personally meet him, but the movie Stand and Deliver was about Jaime Escalante, about the work he did in Los Angeles in an underserved community, mostly Latino students, and helping them believe in themselves and learn math and then go to college. Well, during that time, and when I realized I needed to give more love, I signed onto a program through San Diego Gas and Electric called Adopt a School.
Let me ask you one other question before you go.
Sure.
What tuned you into the value of giving more love, even being conscious of that as an attribute of our gifts to attune and share?
That's a great question. When I was depressed, anxious, I
Sure.
didn't grow up with any religion or spirituality.
Is there a book,
There was a Bible in my
Bible?
bedroom.
a movie?
I picked up a Bible.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to church or anything because I really didn't
Yeah.
have that. I don't know where I learned about this. If what you give away will come back.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it was for something I read in the Bible. But anyway, yeah, I don't really remember how that seed got planted. It could have been from just opening to a page in the Bible and reading it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Or someone said it and it resonated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so with Adopt a School, I knew I needed to give more love. I knew I needed to give some service. And so I would get in the company car once a week and drive to this downtown San Diego middle school. And there was this program called AVID, Advancement via Individual Determination. This is around 1988 when it was being formed. It's now a nationwide program. And one of the early educators that was involved in it, her name is Dr. Colleen Seberg. She's a counselor. She was a counselor and a psychologist in this middle school. One of the most beautiful. You have a ladybug on your shoulder. And I'm going to say more about that in a little while.
Love bug.
I'm a love bug. There you go. One of the teachers I once worked with, she passed away at a young age, and at her memorial, it was all about ladybugs. And ladybugs come visit me at special times. Just landed on your shoulder at this moment.
Thank you.
When we're talking about giving love.
Yes.
And so
And receiving.
giving and receiving love. And so, I was a tutor and I'd help these 8th graders with math and science, but a lot more than math and science.
Yes.
It was all about loving them and listening to them, being kind to them and compassionate. And again, I think I got more out of it than they did. So Dr. Seberg was my first real mentor.
Yes.
That taught me about giving love.
Yes.
Unconditional love.
Yes. When you feel momentarily inadequate, distressed, upset, doubtful, how do you move, whether it's in school, whether it's in your relationship, whether it's in you're working your passion, well, how do you move through these weaknesses that we all have to realign your strength, confidence, and intention for success for all parties concerned? How do you step above the fray of your own making?
Yeah, that can be really tough at times, right? Prayer helps a lot. Saying some prayers, saying some mantras like let go and let God. Trying to envision and ask God for guidance or support on how to get through this, get to the other side, because you're in a bad space. Trusting.
Is it a bad space, or it's a space that's not preferential? And it's a space that's just part of the experience of your life?
No, it feels pretty bad when I'm in that space.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it's just part of life.
Yes.
It feels bad, and I want to feel good.
Yeah.
And I want to give love, and there are times when I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I would say,
So you said mantras, prayers.
yeah, one from Unity, because I know you went to Unity, and I was
Yes.
in Unity for quite some time. The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us.
The power of God
protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
There you go. So we both know that. So I'll imagine, I'll say that and imagine myself or others in bright light.
Yes.
And keep saying that as long as I need to, you know, and until I've moved through to the other side of whatever you're in.
Yes. Yeah. And what he's just shared, you know, that challenge that we all inherently experience through the throes of life and the process of life and this inevitable journey. It's to have these practices and these processes that move us through something that's going to happen again. I see them as opportunities to develop a deeper level of strength and of understanding of who I am and the potential I have to continue to move forward.
Yeah. So I've read a lot of books with regards to spirituality.
And one that stands out.
We'll get to that one. A number of the books that I've read talked about the different selves we are made of. And and I agree with the authors, and there's a number of them that's saying similar things, that there's this higher essential self of who we are, the one that's connected with light and God. And then there are these lower selves that we kind of fall into, right? Well, I think you're right. I think when you're struggling and you're acting in one of these lower selves, that it becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, to ask for guidance, and be directed. And if we have to ask.
Yes.
We have to ask for guidance.
Yes.
And when we're stuck, right, to move back into our higher, most essential self. And maybe it is just all part of the process. Maybe it's not bad. Maybe it's just part of the process of growth. And maybe it's that opportunity.
And the book?
The book. So different book, different topic, other than what you're talking about. One of the books I think that you're referring to, you had asked me to think about what was an important book for me. Was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl.
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, I read that.
That's on my book list in boundlessgratitudes.com.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it should be. It's one of the earliest books I read on, I guess, spirituality. I don't know if it's very spiritual. And it gets back to that, what you talked about there's always an opportunity to learn and grow. And it's a choice on how we see every event. We can see it as bad, or we can see it as an opportunity to grow and learn. And I believe Viktor Frankl helped me realize that when I was in this serious depression, anxiety, well, that was an opportunity to grow. It was, had I not gone through that, I don't think I would have stayed an electrical engineer. We wouldn't be having this conversation. I might be doing just any old job, just for the money, rather than finding a calling, finding a purpose, and ever striving towards living as my highest, most essential self. So Man's Search for Meaning helped me see that not to wallow and feel sorry for myself and take drugs to feel better, but like, let's use this as an opportunity to find my calling.
Yes.
And then, well, I did.
Yeah.
And went to a really good graduate school and been a teacher, and it's been an extremely challenging and most amazing adventure.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just because you're in your calling. In fact, it's probably going to be harder.
Yeah. You know, Viktor Frankl, he suffered a concentration camp in World War II, and he lost his whole family. He was on the cusp of death any day, any moment. And yet he had an amazing spirit of aspiration, of commitment to life. And there's a statement that is often attributed to Wayne Dyer, and certainly Viktor Frankl lived this through the years that he was stuck in this very, very difficult place. And that statement is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And so he looked at a very, very depraved experience as an opportunity for enlightenment, without needing any credit, without a boost or calling for a boost to self-image, just a humble appreciation and thankfulness for life. Yeah. If you're privileged to be leader of the earth for a day, he's privileged to be so. And he is given the chance to utter 1 to 3 proclamations that become our opportunity for living an engaging, uplifting, positive life. What might those be?
Well, I'm going to take advantage of all 3. First of all, I'm not going to say 1 to 3. So if you're going to give me 3, I'm going to take all 3.
Go for it.
All right. So number 1 is related to the idea of equity, not equality. They're very different.
Yes.
Equity means we must create equitable systems where everyone is given a fair chance at success and realizing their hopes and dreams. Everyone is given a fair chance. Everyone is not given a fair chance, David. I work
today.
Yes. I work in an underserved school in Sacramento, mostly students of color, 95%. Many of the parents are new to our country and don't speak English, and I can tell you that my students are not given a fair chance. Mm-hmm. They might get this equal amount of money as the other school over here, but that doesn't give you a fair chance. Mm-hmm. So I really call on people to learn more about what does equity mean, and how can we give everyone a fair chance. Then it would be environment, that we must nurture and not harm our environment. Our world should be better from us being here, not worse. And we're doing a horrible job as a species, as human beings on this planet. Our world is very, it's hurting, and I see it out on the river guiding. Climate change is very real, and we can do something about it. And the last thing, probably the most important, is around love. Mm-hmm. And that my proclamation is give more love than you take.
And may these be the law of the land.
Yes. And
each of us is responsible for incorporating these tenets of possibility to make them statements of reality.
Thanks,
and
Dave.
Actions of reality. We're not done.
We're good.
We have a few more.
All right.
Do you have, you are blessed with an aspiring partner and 2 daughters.
Yeah.
How has this family relationship contributed to your appreciation of life?
Yeah.
They're integral.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been blessed with a marriage of 34 years now to Diane. We're practically opposites in most ways. I believe that I've become better because of Diane.
Yes.
Hopefully a little bit of me is rubbed off on her as well. We have a daughter, Jessie, who's 28 years old, and Maddie Jojo, she's 24 years
Yes.
old, who you've worked with.
Yes.
I'd say the family relationship has just given me a greater purpose. You know, it's similar to teaching. It's hard. It can be challenging, but it's a roller coaster.
Yes.
You know, it's not a merry-go-round.
Yes.
And I like being on the roller coaster personally, and knowing that there are going to be some tough lows, and there's going to be some amazing highs.
Yes.
And so, watching your kids
Yes.
graduate from college, you know, get their first professional job, or even graduate from high school. You
Yes.
know, just to celebrate, and the joy you feel in your heart, knowing
Yeah.
that all the love that you've given them, that they're taking it and going out into the world and sharing
Yeah.
their love now with the world. So having my family has just given me a greater purpose, where I think without them, I would have been a more selfish person. I would have been doing a lot more things for my own pleasure, which is great. It's fun. I love the fish. Right?
Yeah.
It's pleasurable.
And yet your life's more than that.
It's way more than that.
So then that leads me to this question that I wasn't originally in the questions I gave you, and yet you're leading to it. Why are you given this privilege of life? What are your thoughts about it? Why? How come we're graced with this staying of life?
Well,
For you.
For me, yeah. Well, let me just kind of speak in general first. My belief is that we're all here for a reason, and it's our part of our work is to figure out, why are we here? And once you figure out why you're here, follow that path. And so for whatever reason, I believe I was here to be a teacher.
On many levels.
On many levels, and to give life, love, in whatever form, whether it be through mathematics or fly fishing or as a friend climbing a mountain together, to give that love and make this world a kinder, more loving place.
Yes.
I think I'm also here that I have flaws. I have lots of flaws, like we all do.
Yeah.
And to heal those. And I think we are given the opportunity to heal those wounds, or that maybe might be from other lifetimes. We're here to grow and become closer to, if you believe in God or the universe, you're getting closer and closer to living each day as the highest, most essential self.
Yes.
And so that's one of the reasons I think I'm here, is to continue to evolve, continue to grow, learn from my mistakes, and to give love through teaching.
Yeah. And I will attest to my long-standing relationship with Michael. That's a question he's always asked, and the answer has always evolved as it evolves for me. And may it evolve for all of us. You have one word or a statement of wisdom for anyone to live a balanced and enriching life.
Yeah.
And we'll close with this.
Yeah, it's going to be short and simple, but not simple, right? Maybe the most difficult thing
Yes.
there is, but it seems simple.
Yes.
But it's not. So my words of wisdom are: find your calling and serve.
Find your calling and serve.
Find your calling and serve to the best of your ability. Serve and grow and learn, and when you're in your calling, it won't feel so much like work. It won't be easy. It will be very hard. You will be tested.
Sometimes it'll feel damn like work.
Oh my God. It will, and other times it's going to
Yeah.
be so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like this conference I was just at, with presenting with
Yeah.
my student, you know. It's just unbelievable. Kind of, it felt like 30 years, 34 years of work, and it gave me this. It was amazing.
That were a moment in passing and culminated in a moment of grace.
Yeah. So find your calling and serve, and then realize that the love you give away will one day come back to you. It will 100% will come back to you.
It multiplies.
It multiplies.
Yes. Michael?
Yeah.
This is one of the most wondrous and deeply felt and mutually uplifting interviews I've ever had.
It's quite an honor.
I thank you.
Thank you.
I bless you. I am blessed by you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.